So if I could begin by telling you just a little bit about the Housing Forum, and then expand out and tell you how the lockdown and the COVID-19 regulations are affecting our business and organisation. Well, the Housing Forum is a cross-industry organisation which represents all of the parties involved in housing development and construction, right through from clients like housing associations and local authorities, contractors and providers of services like Ian Williams, who have been a member for a very long time, suppliers and manufacturers, large household names you'll know about, Worcester Bosch, for instance, Kingspan, Polypipe, organisations of that kind, specialist consultants, architects, cost consultants and surveyors and so on. So a very broad span of membership. But as an organisation, the Housing Forum itself, as a business unit, is tiny. We only have 5 members of staff and not all of them are full-time. We do have a very strong association and partnership with NHBC, the National House Building Council. And for the last decade, we've shared offices with them, which has had tremendous advantages in normal times, great meeting rooms and so forth. But its one downside is that it's in the City of London. So very quickly in March, the offices had to close, and particularly because of the restrictions in travelling, meetings which normally would have taken place in the heart of London had to be changed very, very quickly. So right in March, we had a consultation event set up on Friday afternoon on First Homes, and we almost overnight flipped that into a Zoom meeting. Now we were a tiny bit ahead. It's interesting when you look back and think how these things come about. One key member of staff had given in his notice and said he was moving to the States, he was getting married and so on. We didn't want to lose his expertise immediately, so we offered him a remote working contract. So Callum was working for us for 3 months from Texas. And we therefore organised our Tuesday afternoons around a team meeting that he could participate in. The first couple of meetings, we were using old-fashioned technology, conference call and so on, and a mobile phone. And I said very quickly, we can't go on like this. We've got to find a better way of doing it. So we researched Zoom, and we were a little bit, only a week or so ahead of everybody else, but we quickly went on to Zoom. We used it for team meetings, and then we used it for a consultation meeting. And, you know, really, we've not looked back. We've continued to do that. So from the point of view of how we organise our business, we're really about setting up opportunities for people to share knowledge, to challenge issues, to find out more about topical issues. So we've done that through a programme of events. Now switching all of that over to digital took a few weeks, but once we got going in April, we then ran a series of fortnightly webinars. And in fact, I've got one this afternoon on MMC, so that just shows you how much product we can put out that way. In terms of our home working, we didn't have a formal home working policy, but being a small organisation, we could be flexible, and we'd already had flexibility. Some individuals asked if they could work on certain days. I myself always tended to have a day at home, working, catching up, usually a Monday or Friday when business was less intense. So we haven't introduced any formal policy. We're keeping an open mind, and I think that's the best way. And I think when we look at the future of home working, it has to be as much employee driven as employer driven, because we have to find a way that works for everybody, and we have to be sensible about that. So as well as our team meetings, we're really encouraging people to do a lot of joining up by phone. Generally, it's conversations during the day, or it's keeping going after a webinar like this and just having a bit of a casual catch up and so on. I think everybody's responded very well. We said that we would put in additional requirements. It's been things really like dongles. It hasn't had to be anything more significant, but I think going forward we will want to invest in some better laptops, some printers and so forth, and I've put money in the budget to make sure that we can do that probably in 2021. One of our challenges as Housing Forum was about geography. Um, Largely, a lot of work did take place in the southeast, and we very much wanted to have a presence in Manchester, Bristol, Leeds, and so on. And we'd done that by running roundtables or seminars, maybe once a quarter. That was about as much as physically we could manage. One thing that we noticed as soon as we got onto digital was that we were attracting people from right around the country. And the most interesting thing was we'd had a commitment to a development partnership forum in Kent, which would involve a site visit around Rochester Riverside. It's going to be tremendous. It's absolutely gorgeous development, really worth seeing, and we're hoping to do that next year. But we had to substitute that with an online forum. Unfortunately, BPTW, who won the design awards around about that time, had got drone footage which had been filmed especially for the awards ceremonies. So we were able to repurpose and recycle that. So it's amazing what you can do, really. And the great thing we found when we ran that, if we'd run it physically, we would have just attracted people from the southeast and Kent. But it was astonishing the number of people from around the country who took part in that because they could do it online. The other thing I would say is the number of people involved in these online events has trebled and even quadrupled. It's just the ease, the fact that you can do it remotely. It doesn't take up a whole day. It's all the things I think that Nick and others will probably say is evident in that. Our plan in 2020 was to widen our local authority membership. It's a long-held wish to do that. Difficult really to get councils to travel because really their focus is geographic on their particular area. And we've been asked about a year or so ago to help people form a network amongst local authorities so they could swap experiences, find out what was current, and also begin to understand how to be a client, how to deal with viability assessments, cost issues, all of those nitty-gritty commercial issues. And there wasn't a network to do that. Now, what's happened this year is that network has accelerated simply because we've been able to do it online. And people, say from London authorities, are very keen to find out what's going on in Manchester and vice versa. So we've been able to take more local authorities into membership and expand that network. So that's been a great opportunity for us. Looking forward, one thing I think that we do feel we want to invest in is more soft digital aids and support and so on, because the one thing that's missing is the physical networking. Online is great for reinforcing those relationships that already exist. It's more challenging to establish new ones, but this kind of opportunity is great if you're able to do that. So in order to really tackle that missing item, the missing network item, we've looked at what's available online, and Zoom certainly has conference facilities. You know, we tried that in July. It worked very well. We got groups of people together. You can't force it. You know, some people want to do that, some don't. But we actually set up 5 discussion groups that worked very well, and they all had a poll of priorities to look at and vote on. So that gave some of that kind of mixing and information sharing that was missing. When we get to our national conference on the 20th of October, we're moving into a hybrid arrangement, which will mean there'll be about maybe 20 or 30 of us in a conference centre with all social distancing measures in place and so forth. And we'll be able to do our presentations live, which I think is really important to have that feeling of being live. People will be able to take part in Zoom, but we're also investing in some new technology that enables 5 floors of discussion tables to be organised, and people can move around and sit in with other people and then hold mini Zoom conferences within that. So for me, getting around all of that, is the way that we've got to go, and helping people understand it. So the great thing I think that we've learned in this period is the need to put communications absolutely first, and to be patient with communications, and to have 3 goes at everything. Sometimes you can't get people by email, so you phone them or you use Zoom, but just constantly reinforcing that and being considerate of colleagues, I think, is something that we need to do. Just before I finish, I just wanted to say over the 6 months just how much things have changed, because originally when we went into lockdown, I think the industry took a very deep breath, because so many operations were on site. That was all challenged. The distribution, say, of parts and materials was affected, and people were very concerned that we might get into a confrontational, adversarial area about contractual issues on site. Now, that didn't happen, and I think that's very much to the credit of the industry. It's a great industry to work in, and particularly the Housing Forum, devoted to collaboration, has actually seen that happen in practice. And I want to build on that. And I think for next year, what we'll be wanting to do is to look at intelligent clienting, intelligent procurement, ways in which we can build on the things that we've learned, the maturity that's come out of the sector. So that's my hope for the future. And I think I can leave it there for now. Thank you, Mike.